I remember sitting down on my couch, and at the time I was studying Miles Davis. I was going through all his albums. Miles Smiles, Live at Carnegie Hall, and of course Bitches Brew. Now, while I was listening to it, I kept asking myself, is this jazz? I wasn't sure. I went and asked some of my professors, some of my good friends, if they really thought what he was doing was jazz. They said, yeah, of course, man. Yeah, man, it's revolutionary. It's just avant-garde. But when do things stop being jazz and become so avant-garde that they just take on a whole new shape? I wasn't so sure. Something seemed wrong. As I heard Miles squeak and squonk over whatever the fuck was going on in that album, I felt like it was missing something. I felt like I was missing something. So I went back to the roots. I listened to King Oliver, WC Handy charts, progressed, got further along, Charlie Parker, John Coltrane, kept going further, just kept getting newer and newer, see really what was constant and what stayed central to jazz. Jocko, Wynton, Snarky Puppy, Wolfpack. I wasn't sure what it was anymore. And you'd talk with some players. They'd say, oh, it's jazz. It's definitely jazz. It's not, you can tell it's jazz because it's not like that rap shit. Not that pop mainstream fuckery that everyone loves. It's jazz because it has meaning, because there's improvisation. But I wasn't too convinced, So, what really is jazz? Is jazz even music? When I go out and do something that's creative, spontaneous, like a new dance in front of a crowd, is that jazz? When I go out on a date and have a great time, finding some really interesting things about the other person, making those connections that you only make with that special person, those special connections. Is that jazz? I knew I had to go deeper. I started sitting outside, watching the stars, going on highways, watching the cars pass by, interactions with people, and of course listening to music, but it just wasn't, I couldn't figure it out. And then it seems so obvious. But I put on Giant Steps by John Coltrane. And that's when I realized jazz is just a fucking load of shit. There's nothing special about it, really. It's just really overcomplicated and pretty boring. I'm not really sure why anyone likes it. It's just hot garbage, honestly. It's just not fun, And yeah, it's fucking garbage horse shit. See ya.